Welcome to Deep Dive, an extension of Bringing the Heat with Regina Weston. Here, we explore meaningful topics that inspire discovery, spark dialogue, and drive transformation. More than a podcast, it's your tool for growth and action. Stay tuned.
Hey everyone, welcome back for another Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something pretty complex.
Oh, yeah.
Coexisting, in these loveless marriages.
Yeah.
It's something we don't often talk about. And we're going to use Regina Weston's YouTube video to kind of guide us through this.
Okay.
Right away, she asked this really interesting question.
Okay.
She says, if you were to die today, would you die unhappy?
Wow. That is getting right to the point. It makes you think, doesn't it? Like, really confront your situation.
Yeah.
Are you really happy?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think before we go down that whole existential rabbit hole,
Right.
we should talk about why people would stay in a marriage.
Yeah.
Even when it seems like, the love is gone.
Right.
Weston points out some pretty, practical reasons.
Uh-huh.
People want to provide stability for their kids.
Of course.
Especially these days and, with the cost of living and everything.
Yeah.
Also financial security.
Right.
Those are huge factors in a decision like this.
Huge. Totally.
Yeah.
I think, though, what I find really fascinating is the psychology behind all of that. It's like humans we don't like to lose things, even if what we're holding on to isn't really making us happy.
Right.
We would rather have something familiar,
Yeah.
even if it's not great, than something that's totally unknown.
Yeah. We get stuck in this comfort zone.
Totally.
Even if it's not really that comfortable.
I believe.
And, I've seen it with some friends who stay in unhappy marriages for the sake of the kids, but then it's like other problems come up because of that decision.
Yeah.
And Weston uses this really, I think, interesting analogy.
Okay.
This bank of love.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, tell me more.
So tell me what you think about this.
Okay.
So your relationship is like a bank account.
Okay.
And every time you show love or care or you're committed, you make a deposit.
Right.
But then there's also withdrawals.
Okay.
When your needs aren't met or disappointments.
Yeah.
Or just times when someone feels like they're taken for granted.
Absolutely.
So it's like a real bank account, right?
Yeah.
If you keep making withdrawals without any deposits,
Yeah.
you end up bankrupt.
Emotionally bankrupt. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think what happens is it's like a slow leak.
Right.
And it just kind of erodes the whole foundation of the relationship.
Exactly.
Weston gives some examples, she talks about if you miss an anniversary consistently,
Right.
or if one partner just always puts their needs first.
Right.
And those might seem like small things,
Yeah.
but they actually chip away at the connection.
Totally.
And then you end up with resentment.
Yeah. And that makes me think about, you remember that story Weston told about Maria Shriver?
Yeah, yeah.
She said that Arnold Schwarzenegger told her not to expect him to make her happy.
Right. And that brings up such an important point
Yes.
about where does our happiness come from?
Right.
It's so easy to think our partner will complete us. But actually, to be really happy, it has to come from inside.
It's not about finding someone to fill the void.
Yeah.
It's about two people
Right?
who are already whole,
Yes.
choosing to be together
Yes.
and supporting each other.
And growing together. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're always expecting your partner to make you happy, you're probably going to be disappointed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everybody's got baggage.
Right.
Everyone's got their own problems.
Right.
A healthy relationship is about two people saying, okay, I get it. You've got your stuff. I've got mine.
Right.
But we're going to go through life together.
Yeah.
We're not trying to fix each other
Exactly.
or save each other.
And then Weston talks about this this thing that happens where couples kind of perform a happy marriage
Oh, yeah.
for everyone else.
Uh-huh.
But then behind closed doors, they're living totally separate lives.
Yes, you're right. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Psychologists call it impression management. And you might have seen it too, couples who are afraid of what other people will think.
Yeah.
Or maybe they want to protect their kids from what's really going on. So
Right.
they put on this happy face.
Right. But pretending all the time, it's got to be exhausting
It is.
to hold in your feelings and keep up that act.
It is. And you know what it does? It stops you from dealing with the problems that are causing you to be disconnected in the first place.
Right.
So if this is you, or if you know someone like this, think about, why are they putting on a show?
Right.
What are they afraid of? What are their needs? What's not being said?
So Weston's advice seems pretty simple. If you're not happy,
Mm-hmm.
do things that make you happy. But I wonder, like, how easy is that to actually do?
I know, it's easier said than done. Sometimes we're so stuck in our routine,
Yeah.
or we're so used to our roles, that we forget about what we're passionate about, what we really enjoy doing.
Right.
But if you really want to be happy again, you have to make an effort. You have to figure out what makes you happy.
Yeah.
What gives you a reason to get up in the morning.
Right.
And not just because of your relationship.
It's like rediscovering those parts of yourself that make you feel alive.
Exactly.
Hobbies.
Yeah.
Or spending time with friends.
Yeah.
Or, pursuing something you're passionate about. Or even like talking to a therapist.
Absolutely.
If you need help with all these complicated feelings.
You have to take care of yourself.
Right.
You have to make your life feel meaningful.
Yeah.
And like you're being true to yourself.
So let's take a minute.
Yeah.
And just think about what we just talked about.
Okay.
What really stood out to you. Have you ever seen this, like, people coexisting in a loveless relationship?
Right?
We want to know what you think. Tell us. But for now, we're going to keep going with Weston's ideas. And we'll look at her final message.
Okay.
And talk about what it means to choose a life that really fits your values and your dreams.
Sounds good.
Weston's closing message is so powerful. It's like this reminder that we all deserve to be happy, and we shouldn't waste our time on love that's not being given back.
It is empowering. Like, we have a choice. We can stay in a bad situation, or we can go and make a life that we really want.
She talks about the bank account thing again, and it really hits home.
Right.
If you're always the one giving love and care, but you're not getting anything back, you're going to end up feeling empty.
Totally. And what's crazy is it's not just romantic relationships, you know?
True.
It's like friendships and families, even work.
Yeah, it's that feeling of being taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And you just think like, wait, what about me? What about my needs?
Exactly. And that's when you have to put your foot down.
Yeah.
Like, what do I need to do to protect myself?
And sometimes it means leaving, right?
Yeah, sometimes. Even if it hurts, it's the best thing.
Weston talks about this idea of settling. Like when you just accept a relationship, that's okay because it's easy.
Comfortable. Yeah.
You might say it's for the kids or that things will get better, but deep down.
Don't we all want that spark?
Yes.
That connection,
Yeah, to feel understood.
Exactly.
And if you don't have that, it's like living a lie.
It's like that Thoreau quote, quiet desperation.
You're just going through the motions.
Right.
But nothing feels real.
It's about knowing your worth, not settling for less.
And if your partner doesn't get that,
right,
maybe it's time to move on.
It's hard, especially with kids or money or just what other people will think.
Totally.
But you have to ask yourself, what am I teaching my kids? What am I teaching myself?
Which goes back to Weston's question.
Yeah.
If you were to die today, would you die unhappy?
It makes you think about how short life is.
It really does.
Don't waste it with people who bring you down.
Find people who make you happy. Be with people who get you.
Exactly.
I like that Weston doesn't tell people what to do.
Me too.
She helps them understand things, but it's up to them to decide.
Because you have the power to change things.
Right, even if it seems scary.
Always.
Now, this is a lot to take in.
It is.
So let's try something.
Okay.
Imagine your perfect relationship.
Okay.
What would it look like? Yeah. What's most important to you?
Good question.
What are your deal breakers?
Think about what you really need. What would make you truly happy with someone?
Hold on to that thought, and we'll come back and finish up our deep dive. We'll leave you with something to think about. Welcome back. So did you picture it? Your perfect relationship, I mean.
It's interesting how this stuff makes you really think,
It does.
Yeah.
And remember, there's no, one right answer when it comes to relationships.
Totally. What works for one couple might not work for another.
Right. You got to find what works for you and your partner.
Yeah, what feels right,
And Weston talks about that, too. You can't just copy someone else's relationship.
Nope.
And expect it to work for you.
It's not a cookie cutter thing.
Right. We all have different experiences.
Exactly, and different ideas about what we want.
It's more about creating a space where you can both be yourselves.
Yes. Be honest. Be open. And want to grow together.
She told this story about a couple who were going to stay together for their kids.
Right.
And the therapist asked them, would you be together if you didn't have kids?
Yeah.
And they both said no.
Wow.
It's sad. But sometimes things aren't what they seem.
Yeah, and it makes you think about the kids.
Right.
What are they learning about relationships if that's all they see?
It's like this ripple effect.
Exactly.
It affects everyone, not just the couple.
And that's why it's so important to talk to people you trust.
Right.
friends, family, maybe even a therapist.
Sometimes you need someone to help you see things clearly.
Absolutely. I think what's great about Weston is she doesn't tell you what to do.
I agree.
She gives you information, but the decision is yours.
Exactly. She helps you understand things.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's up to you to decide what to do.
To stay or to go, to work on it or to move on.
Right. So as we wrap up this deep dive into loveless marriages, let's remember Weston's message.
Okay.
Don't waste your life on love that isn't reciprocated.
Such good advice.
Now think about your own love story.
Okay.
If you could change the ending, how would it go?
What would your happy ending be?
Would you fight for the relationship or start a new chapter?
It's your story.
The choice is yours. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
And until next time, keep thinking, keep asking questions, and always choose what feels right for you.
Thank you for joining us on the Deep Dive Conversations podcast. We hope today's episode offered insights and inspiration to enrich your life. Until next time, take care and keep exploring.